How you doing, YouTube? Welcome to a new edition of the Master Tech. Today we are working on a Landa VHP 5 at 3000. This is a 5 gallon a minute, 3000 PSI machine that is a propane burner. The customer is complaining of two issues. One, the unit shuts off while in use, and also says the burner is not working. When you're diagnosing a machine and working on something like this, first thing you want to do is you always want to look at the obvious potential problems. For this unit, what we're going to do is we're going to start it up and we're going to see if the pilot is coming on. That's the first thing you want to do. And you also want to look for any obvious leaks, loose wires, any out of the ordinary things that your machine normally would have. We want to make sure that that is not a problem. Right away I can hear that the pilot is lit. We're going to go ahead and look down here. We have a pilot. So we know the machine is turning on. We know the pilot is lighting. Now this unit has what is called time delay shutdown. Time delay shutdown means when this machine is not in use, after a preset time has reached, this unit will automatically shut off. And then you can turn it back on by re-exciting the field by hitting that red switch. Right here. So, looking at this unit, I'm not seeing any loose wires. I'm not seeing any leaks. And I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. Next thing we want to do is we want to run the machine and we want to verify that the problems that the customer is talking about are actually present. Okay, so while running the machine, the burner is not working. Now we need to figure out why the burner isn't working. On a model like this, the burner is controlled by a couple different things. You have a burner switch, which is on the control panel. You have what is called a flow switch, which is right here. And then you have your gas valve and you have your fuel supply. Now, the way this works is when the machine is running and the burner is turned on, the pilot lights and establishes a flame. When you squeeze the trigger of the gun, this flow switch has an internal magnet. That magnet goes up. It sends a signal to the burner and tells the burner to turn on. When you let go of the trigger, that magnet drops down and then tells the burner that it's okay to shut off. You're not calling for heat. This flow switch also has a second purpose. That flow switch is telling this unit that it is being used, and that keeps the timer turned off so the time delay shutdown does not get activated and does not turn off the machine. Now, from initial description from the customer, right away I know, since I've worked on these for so long, that the problem is probably going to lie with this flow switch. Because the machine is turning off even though the customer is using the machine. that tells me this flow switch, or something that this flow switch is going to, is not getting a signal and is causing the machine to shut off. So what we're going to do, rather than just swap out that flow switch, that's actually a brand new flow switch that was just installed. So now what we need to do is we need to verify there is not a problem with the wiring in the box. So we need to open up this access panel, and we need to look at the relay and the terminal strip where the wiring from the flow switch goes to. Alright, so I have the cover off, and in here you'll see these are all the components, electric components for this pressure washer. They keep everything in this watertight container, box, to basically protect it and to keep you from getting shocked. While I have this open, I'd like to just take a second to kind of show you some of the components, what they are and what their purpose is. So for future videos, you know what those things are. Coming in, first we have a contactor. We have an overload for the contactor. This takes your incoming power and sends it to the motor. You also have a timer, relay, terminal strip, step-down transformer, secondary step-down transformer, and this is a burner. This is an ignition control box, or a Honeywell box. Now, after looking at this unit, a quick way of telling if the flow switch is working is when this unit is on and the trigger is pulled, two things will happen. One, when the machine is on and sitting idle, meaning the trigger is not pulled, this green LED will blink. When the trigger is pulled, it will either stop blinking or it will become illuminated a different color. They do different things. You also have a relay that when the trigger is pulled, you will see a red light. This will illuminate. When it's not being pulled, it will just be blank. Nothing will be showing like it is now. So an easy way to diagnose this is to just turn it on and squeeze the trigger and see what happens. Now, as you can see right now, we have a blinking green light on the timer. That means this timer is running right now and it is preparing to shut off. As you see on the relay, we have no light. Now, rather than squeezing the trigger because it gets so loud, another way to diagnose this would be to use a magnet and put the magnet by the flow switch. If you see now, we have a relay that's lit and we have a light that's off on the timer. Pull the magnet away, the red light goes off on the relay and the blinking light comes back. Another thing is, with this magnet here, when that red light's on, I can hear over here the burner is working, the heat is not working. So that tells me that the problem with this is either the magnet in the flow switch is stuck or the spring is stuck. There is something internally wrong with this flow switch. So now what we need to do is we need to open this up and we need to see what's going on, because like I said, this is a brand new flow switch. This was actually just installed yesterday. So we know now that there is an issue with this flow switch. More than likely some debris passed through the pump, got up in here and it wedged into that magnet, and that magnet now when you squeeze the trigger is not going up and down like it's supposed to. So that is the problem with this unit. This unit was shutting down and the burner, the heat was not working, and now we know it is because this flow switch is bad. This is called an MV60 flow switch. The reason it's an MV60 is because this has a spring, so this flow switch can be mounted vertically or horizontally. It can be mounted in either position because it has spring assist to push that magnet back down. So now we have identified the problem. Now we need to find out what the cause is. We know that what component is faulty, but now we need to know why it's not faulty. So we're going to open that up and see what's going on inside. All right, so to open up this flow switch, there's a couple things that we need to take off and remove to gain access to the insides of this. We have a high pressure JIC hose right here that goes up. This is the outlet. This water flows from the pump, goes through the unloader, goes through the flow switch, and then out to the coil. So we need to remove this high pressure hose. First and foremost, I've already done it, but you always want to, after testing the machine, you want to shut the machine off, you want to squeeze the trigger, and you want to release any pressure that's in this system, because you don't want to disconnect a hose or loosen a hose and have this be under pressure. At the very least, you could potentially spray water all over, or it could hurt you. So release your pressure, and then you're going to get a adjustable wrench, and you're going to want to loosen this up. Being that this is a JIC, when you reassemble this, you do not have to tighten these up too tight. So we're going to loosen this hose, crack that loose, then you can usually unthread it by hand. Get that out of the way. We've also got what's called the reed switch. The reed switch is the switch that is activated by that internal magnet. So there's a clamp here, a screw, Phillips screw on the back side of this flow switch. You need to loosen that up, and that will allow this to slide out of its case. There's a reed switch. Basically what happens is as the magnet goes up and down, magnet goes up, it triggers this switch. There's an internal switch in here. It makes it make a contact, completes the circuit, and then allows it to do its job. So magnet up, burner on, magnet down, burner off, and timer on. So it's just a simple, moves up and down. There's a little spring in there. So now that we've got that off, this is just a plastic cover. The flow switch is actually inside here. This is two pieces. If you see on the top, it's steel, bottom is brass. This top can be taken off. So what you're going to need to do is put an adjustable wrench here, wrench on top, turn it, and then you can pull this top off without removing the whole flow switch. And that's what I'm going to do. All right, so with the unit apart, I was able to look inside. If you want to look in here, here's the magnet, here's the spring. Basically the problem that we were having was down inside there was some large pieces of rust. And I think what happened was when this machine was ran for a little bit, the rust came loose, passed through the system and got lodged into that magnet, prevented that magnet from going up and down, which ultimately was the cause of the problems. That was preventing the heat from coming on, and it was also preventing the timer from shutting off because the magnet was stuck in the downward position. So I went ahead and I cleaned that, and we're going to go ahead and put this back together, and then we'll give it a test. So I just wanted to show you what the internal components are. Now that's a common problem actually with these flow switches. Stuff gets in there when they get sit, or if you have hard water, different things can cause it, but this is a common part to go bad, and they're used on a large array of machines. So it's something, if you have a hot water unit, you're going to see those on there, and it's common to have those go bad. Alright, so we got the flow switches put all back together. We got the high pressure hose hooked back up. Everything's all tightened down and everything like that. One thing you want to remember, whenever you take something like this off, you always want to retape it. Any fittings that you've taken apart need to be retaped. Teflon tape is not reusable. The blue tape that I'm using has a Loctite built into it. I like that it's a higher quality than the standard white Teflon tape, but I mean either one is fine. But yeah, you need to remove the old tape, put on new tape when you're reassembling something to prevent leaks. So we've got this all put back together, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fire this up. And like we said, when the machine is sitting, running, without the trigger pulled, we want to see a blinking green light. When the trigger is pulled, we don't want to, no light, but we want to see a red light on the relay, and the burner should be working. So let's see what we got. Already I can tell we fixed the problem, because as soon as I turned it on, for a split second I saw a red light. Red light, no green light. Alright, so far so good. Go ahead and turn on the burner. Pilot lights, I can hear the click. Red light. Burner's working. Let go of the trigger. Red light goes off. Blinking green comes back. And the burner shuts off. This machine is now working properly. So to recap what we did on this, like I said, the customer had called. They were complaining that the machine was shutting off while they were using it. The burner was not working. We assessed the problems, found out that the new flow switch was jammed, and that was the cause of the issue. Took the flow switch apart, cleaned it, put it back together, retested unit, and burner is working, and time delay shutdown is also working properly. So this will be one of many videos that you will be finding on the Master Tech. Please subscribe, like the video, turn on your notifications, because you will be getting a lot of content on this channel. I'm very active in this. This is what I do every day for a living, so there's going to be a lot of tech tips and troubleshooting and how-tos and things like that. So if you are a pressure washer owner, if you own your own business and you work on your own equipment, it would be to your benefit to subscribe to this channel and learn how to work on your own stuff. And if you know other pressure washer guys, please spread the word to check out the channel, because they will find it very useful in the near future. Thank you.